All right. Hello, everybody. I am Ron Chason, the founder and CEO of Clear Prep Discovery. I am blessed to have one of the most talented uh, lady that I've ever met in my entire life. She is a 2023 uh, honorary ambassador of tomorrow recipient, and her name is Katrina Collins. She is the principal of Skyview Elementary in Richardson, Texas. And I am so blessed and so amazed by all the things she's done. Let's give it up for her and all the things she's done. So, Katrina,
Yes.
this is your day. Now, I'm just kidding. Like you do on the Rich and Famous. Katrina,
Yes.
this is your day. No, I'm just
Yes.
kidding. Katrina Collins.
Yes.
She principal of Skyview Elementary.
Yes.
Before we get into all that, tell me, who is Katrina Collins? Tell me the lifestyle that she grew up in. What type of childhood you had. Just tell me who is Katrina Collins, so the people know.
Well, Ron, I don't have a rags to riches story. I grew up in a moderate middle class house with my mother and my father. They are truly my backbone, my foundation. They are still married to this day. I think they will in September embark on year 52 or 53. I am clearly the middle child of an older brother.
Hold on. What you mean clearly?
I'm extra. I own it. And I'm sandwiched between two brothers and everything that comes with that responsibility of being the only girl and sometimes caring and fussing and doing that piece. Grew up a tomboy, loved sports. Once I realized my height wasn't going to take me that much further in sports, I immediately switched to cheerleading. And it became my thing through high school. I was that overachiever. I was the one that started my first job at age 14 due to making cheerleading. Again, my parents were not, absent. They were not present, but their middle class incomes were for the staples. And I said, no, I will be a cheerleader. And my father told me at age 6 months old, he knew I was different. He put me in the swing. I had a look like, don't put me in there. He started the swing. He said, I reached out at 6 months old and stopped the swing and said, pretty much my face said, get me out of here. So I've always been very independent. According to my parents, I started dressing myself at age 2 and just never looked back. Looked at that opportunity to cheer and said, you know what? I think this is a great opportunity. I don't want to miss out. I waitress tables. It was 2 years into that moment before he even realized I was not 16. Led a very, very, I think, a great resume as a working high school student. I graduated number 9 in my graduating class. I served as class president 2 years, ended up giving the commencement address at our graduation by a challenge of Aura Taylor, one of my mentors, who told me, and you will get on that mic. I know what you're capable of, and you will not have any note cards. So I delivered that high school 5 to 6 minute address with no cards. Went off to college, eventually married my high school sweetheart because we had our first kid. We had our first kid at the end of Stephen F. Austin's second year of school. Just had to learn how to find some grit, Ron, to persevere through. So remarried now to an awesome gentleman who's my think partner. He pushes me. He's not my yes person. He doesn't tell me it's a great idea if it isn't. Helps me process through. And so through him, I gained a bonus daughter. So I have a bonus daughter of 27. I have a son of 27. Our youngest is 21. He's a senior at UNT. So if anybody gets bored in their prayer closet, we have young adults that you can definitely. No, they're amazing children. They're amazing children.
Well, let's go back. So let's go back for a moment. So in high school, you were crowned the valedictorian, or they just made you get up there and say, you're going to go do this speech and that, or what? Are you the valedictorian or salutatorian? Or they just say, hey,
both did a speech. So our valedictorian did a speech, and then class president did a speech. So I was class president, and so I did a speech, and the valedictorian also did a speech.
Okay. And in doing those speeches, I mean, were you nervous? Were you scared? I mean, sound like you, I mean, from all the swinging on the swing, sound like you had, you were ready for it. So,
It's funny you would say that. I
yeah,
think it was about fifth grade that it hit me that I loved a microphone.
right,
So the typical Baptist church little girl growing up, where you got the Christmas speech, you got the Easter speech,
yeah,
and I watched a young lady. She's passed away now, just a few years older than I am, on the mic, a few grades older than me, memorize this extensive speech. And I
yeah,
watched the church applaud, and I thought, again, competitive, that will be me. And so
yeah,
I just remember being about fifth grade, committing to memory a very long Christmas speech, and the audience going, "Wow, Phyllis, that was your daughter. Phyllis, your
yeah,
baby's pretty smart." Which I did have a pretty good IQ. I was in the GT programs and everything. And so at that point, I knew, I was maybe too young to understand that that was a gift from God, but I knew
right,
I was good at it. And
yeah,
so I continued to be in Top Teens of America, held
yeah,
offices in that program where I was always having to introduce an adult speaker, and there I was, a teen. And then one time, Top Teens of America took us to the local news station, and
mhm,
we were, as teenagers, allowed to deliver Black History Month commercials.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we were all nervous. We're teenagers. I sit in that chair, run, the light gets on me, and they say roll. And I
yeah,
knew, I said, I could do this if
yeah,
I chose.
yeah.
It was easy. It was a natural.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing about it is that I mean, back in high school, I mean, you think about some of the stuff that you do. Most kids want to go out and they just want to be a part of just being in the clubs and doing all the stuff. As far as different clubs, like I want to be in the chess club or the debate club. I want to be in the band. I want to be in the soccer. I want to go play. But you took a more different path in regards to your high school world. So I like not like you went in toward the world of I want to be either part of the live. I just want to be a speaker. I just want to be competitive no matter what it is, whether it's the debate team. If we shooting marbles, I probably want to do that too. I mean, it don't matter what it is. I just want to be competitive no matter what it is. So
I
tell
gave
me about
I gave my
yeah,
parents
yeah.
a for
Tell
their
me
money.
about what made you go into all this direction. What made you go into that? So
It was just innate. I just at an early age, if I saw someone humanly be able to do something, some things
yeah,
I couldn't. Skateboard, I saw some skateboarders and they tried it, couldn't. But if I saw another human being accomplishing a task, I thought, why not me? So I kind of
yeah,
had fearless, not afraid of failure
yeah,
mentality. I was pretty much a perfectionist, but I was okay with trying things.
yeah.
And I was in Latin club and took 2 years.
See,
I took 2 years Latin because I wanted to be a nurse. I had zero interest in teaching.
yeah,
And I started going in that career path of thinking radio, TV. But when you are a 19, 1 month later, turn 20,
yeah,
and you have a child, you start thinking of stable career fields.
yeah,
And so I chose education because I did not want to have a child that got passed off to my mother, or at that time, my previous mother-in-law,
right,
because I was chasing a career and I never had an opportunity to see my child. So I chose
yeah,
education. I zero regrets
yeah.
of being able to be in his life once I chose that career.
So let me ask you this: so you graduate from high school, right? What was the high school you graduated from?
John Tyler High School in Tyler, Texas.
Okay.
Some call it Tyler High. I have not adjusted yet because it had a name change, but
Ma'am, how long ago was that?
no, it just had a name change like a year ago, maybe 2 years.
Okay, okay,
A lot of places start getting their name changes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you went off after college. You went off where? I mean,
I
after high school, you went off where?
I had aspirations of the Air Force. I had taken the ASVAB test. I had scored
Mhm.
high. They offered me $80,000 to become a nurse. They
Hold
give me
on, hold on. How much?
that was 1994. They come to my parents' house and offer me $80,000. In their mind,
Ew.
I was kind of like a freak of nature. They had not seen someone come in and score high on the aptitude parts and the mechanical parts. Well, I was a tomboy. I hung around my dad. I knew the
Right.
wrenches, I knew the tools, I knew the saw from a hammer to the, and so they came in and just told my dad, like, your daughter's different. My dad's like, I know. And they told my dad, my dad rarely tells me no. He's my big supporter, and I am my
Yeah.
daddy's. My mama had her two sons, so we
Yeah.
even. And so my dad looked at them. He said, "I get it. But the commitment was going to be, I could choose any college in the US as long as I majored in nursing, become a nurse. $80,000 would cover that. I had picked Spelman College. Yes, I had.
Yeah.
And my dad said, but then as she's 22 and she graduates, she enters the Air Force and she's an officer, serves for 4 years. He said, I don't think my daughter can see down the road that far to know that she's still going to want to be committed at 22. So I was heartbroken. I couldn't believe he told me no, them no. But there's almost at the beginning of every school year where I tell my dad, thanks for breaking my heart, because I have now found the best career field in the world. Father knows best, right?
Right. So, I mean, the father, it seems like he had a huge father-daughter relationship that has just kept growing and growing from there. I mean, at the end of the day, it seems like, going from high school to life after high school, seems like everything just, your father was your directing guiding light, and no matter what you did, you always have to refer back to him on things, right? I'm guessing.
I tell any father, don't discount that relationship you have with your daughter. I think my father could see some mistakes I was about to make 12 years ahead of me. But I just remember at every crossroads, when I was about to have the kid, and my mom was supportive, my mom was just crushed. You don't go from an overachieving daughter to her coming to tell you she's having a child. You don't go through that as a mother without being crushed. Especially when she knew I had an opportunity to do things that financially her parents couldn't do for her. So I had it right here. And in her mind, I lost it. So very supportive, still there, rain or shine, but it's nothing like a father's words of knowing that they still believe in you. And my dad said, your mom says you want to go back to Stephen F. Austin. I said, yes. And am I hearing this correct that you're expecting? Yes, sir. He said, well, here's what I know. You've been a great child. You've not given us any heartaches. You're an adult now. If go. And if anybody can figure this out, you can. He said, I don't know many people that can figure out going back to college expecting in Nacogdoches and your parents are in Tyler. He said, but if anybody can figure it out, you can. Well, I have the kid. He's 3 months old. I took a 3-month-old back to Stephen F. Austin. Who does that? But I just didn't want our 27-year-old to ever look at a time of my life and his life where something was more important than him. And of course, I would have been okay and justified probably in my own head, but kids carry that. And when he started going through college and he started saying, Mom, it's hard, I said, well, let me help you with this. Ask me how hard was college with a kid, then becoming a wife, and still finishing in 4.5 years with a 3.8.
So,
and a full-time job. So
what school was that? What school was that where you got your degree from?
I had to switch. We couldn't afford the childcare, so I moved back home and went to UT Tyler. So I did 2.5 years at Stephen F. Austin and then finished at the University of Texas at Tyler. 4.5 years with a 3.8. So I say, son, don't tell me about hard. I know hard. Let's get it.
And you graduated with a degree in what?
In interdisciplinary studies, which is what we would call now elementary education.
Oh, okay. And so in college, did you ever experience the college how they call it, the college life of the school? Like did you go to any of the events? Did you go to the social things? Did you get into clubs and anything? Or do you just go to school and that's it?
Now, I may have some friends from high school in the audience at this gala, so don't discount my high school years. I cheered, I got my grades, I held a job, and I hung out as a teenager. I was a socialite that just achieved and stayed up late and still probably am. This is not new. So,
all right.
but amazingly enough, my older brother's probably in the audience. I remember when I went off to Stephen F. Austin and I had become a party animal right after I graduated from high school. I did. Delivered the speech. It was just all kinds of things in my own head. I was a superstar in my own head. And my brother told me when we got to Stephen F. Austin, looked me square in the eye, and he said, you got it. Don't blow it. He said, Mom and Dad may not know what you've been up to this summer. I know. And he said, don't let us down, make us proud. And Ron, I will tell you, I went to Stephen F. Austin and I can tell you how many alcoholic beverages I had there. There is a fear from my older brother. that I just always have kept. And I just remember his face was so sincere of, you got it and you can do it. Don't blow this moment. So we did some partying. We were Shack Fought Shack. My last name was Shackleford. So we were the freshmen that were known as Shack Fought Shack at a few events. But I still had to work through college. I didn't get that privilege of just kind of loitering and hanging. And then by that sophomore year, I was a mom. So college what? College who? College stroller, college stroller,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So tell me, okay, you graduate from college, you move on out of college, you go to another school, you graduate to that college and you come out of that school. What made you realize, okay, I've been doing the education deal for a while. What made you say, okay, I want to one day, my goal is to become a principal one day. What made you say, okay, that's what I really want to do?
I'm going to credit this to a lady named Ara Hollis. We did summer school together. I'm a young teacher. I think I'm about to go through my divorce from my high school sweetheart. We had 2 children, and I don't know which way. And I know I'm about to move to Dallas. And she said, get your master's. And I said, ma'am, I love teaching. I love the classroom. She said, don't be like me. She said, I am almost at the end of my career, but I'm tired of the classroom, but I didn't give myself any opportunities. She said, even if you never use it, promise me when you get to Dallas, you'll work toward getting your master's. And I was saying yes to her face, and in my mind going, no, ma'am, because I had an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old. As fate or my inner motor would have it, I moved to Dallas with an 8 and a 2-year-old, a newly divorcee, learning a new city. And by that January of the first year, it's just I tickle myself sometimes. I am enrolled in my master's program. I'm a 4th grade teacher, and I finished that master's program in 2 years straight, where both of my boys were involved, and that one was 3-7. And so that's my story, Ron, that I love to make sure people say, I used to do junior high as an admin. You tell the junior high girls, you tell the girls in youth ministry. I make sure every young lady knows this finished product that you're seeing has scars, has baggage, has some moments of shame that I self-inflicted. And people say, oh, I told my son that we did not have, the family plan when we had our oldest. Now, the second kid, we knew the day, the hour, the minute, the time. He was family plan, lesson learned. That's why they're 6 years apart. But I used to do a ministry at the Henry Wade Juvenile Detention Center. I did on Saturday mornings. I love exercising. So I would go in there and do hip hop aerobics made up to those young ladies. And I called that ministry Restoring the Princess. I wanted each of those young ladies to know I'm not special, but I was restored because, one, when I had the first kid, there's 6 years age gap. I learned my lesson. And 2, I grabbed some mentors. You've heard me mention all these people, my father, my mother, all the other elders in my family that have guided me or in the career field. So I wanted those young ladies to know, one, you're a daughter of the Most High King. That makes you a princess. And if you choose to, you can be restored. So restoring the princess.
Yeah, and let me say this: it's a blessing for you to even go through that. I mean, as a single mom with 2 kids and trying to get a master's degree, I mean, it's a blessing for you to even just go through that. I mean, many times I'm sure you want to say, man, did I ever think I'd be doing this? Did it ever occur to you like, man, it's time for me to give this up and just go back to what I was doing? What made you continue going and through all the things that you were going through?
I credit the oldest kid. I remember when I went to the interest meeting, it was downtown Dallas. One, I didn't know Dallas, so we got lost like 7 times. When I finally pulled up to the location where they were going to do this interest meeting of who's interested in getting a master's degree, I pull up and I immediately look at the high rise of that building. I go, okay, I'm out of place. I'm a little country mouse in the big city. I unbuckle the 2-year-old, get my 8-year-old out, and now I walk into this room and there's nothing but glass windows everywhere. And I'm like, I am out of my league. Everyone has on business suits. Everyone looks put together, Ron. And while I'm trying to focus in this meeting, I love my 21-year-old, but he was every bit of a toddler. And I could see out this glass, the oldest one chasing him, trying to let him be seated and all. And I'm just kind of like, oh, walk of shame, wrong place. And I get in the car, Run, and the 8-year-old asked me, after I had to convince them moving to Dallas was okay and would be safe. Same moment. He said, Mom, what was that meeting about? I said, oh, not a big deal. He said, no, what was the meeting? I said, well, it was about earning your master's. And he said, are you going to do it? And I'm turning the corner trying to get us out of Dallas, downtown Dallas. And I said, no, baby, mama's just not ready. He
Right.
had a look on his face, Ron. He's always been a very respectful young man, but
Yeah.
and never talk back. Second born, talk back. But
Yeah.
he looked at me and his face looked like, wow, mom told us, come to Dallas, follow her. We'd be great. We learn new things, not to be scared. And his
Yeah.
face said, mom's a hypocrite. I told him when that degree came in the mail, I owe this degree to you because your face looked like, wow, mom, you say it, but you don't do it. And what
Right.
I refused to do was to be that mom that my words wouldn't have power. So I credit that master's degree to my oldest son. And I tell him all the time, it was the look.
Yeah. And and is that let me ask you this. So it seems like to me, family is everything to you. I mean, family is what got you through pretty much everything in life. So what do you say to family now? Because the family back million days as it goes. I'm trying to tell your age. Compared to what it is now. I mean, it's a little bit different compared now. You see things totally different now. They took corporal punishment out of school now. They don't have that anymore. They took prayer out of school. They don't have that anymore. So it's almost like you have to deal with different type of parenting one-on-one. So how do you look at parenting now compared to parenting what it was back in the day? Parenting is totally different now. So
Ron, what I find in my role as a school leader, my role is to win the parent so the teacher can educate.
yeah,
I'm that first line to make every parent feel welcome and to feel seen. So what I have found in the environments that I choose to work in, I love the campuses that are 90% economically disadvantaged or higher. And
right,
what I found, this is about the 19th year working in those types of environments,
right,
most of those parents that come up combative, one, their insecurities make them feel as if they don't belong in that setting because we're all educated. So they
right,
walk in with either a countenance of fear or a countenance of you won't call out my insecurities.
right,
And once I peel those layers off, Ron, I find that usually I'll have a mom or even a father that'll look at me and say, ma'am, I'm trying. I just don't know. I
yeah,
wasn't raised and I'm
yeah,
trying to figure this out. And
yeah,
I will say to that parent, well, if you'll let me, I can be more than a principal.
right,
I can step into a lane where I can even walk you through some better ways to parent. And
right,
there's times where I've had a dad come in my office and say, Miss, I hear you, but I just don't know what to do with him. I don't want to. And I said, come here for a second. Come here.
yeah,
You see that young man? You see that young man right there? And that young man right there? Those are my sons.
right,
I'm going to tell you the power of corporal punishment and or just being consistent as a parent.
yeah,
If you said you were going to take the game box for 3 days, don't take it for one day and say, oh, just go play it. You have to be consistent as a parent and you have to stand on your word. And
yeah,
I've tried to walk several parents through that. So I'm kind of a principal, I'm kind of a parent guidance, and I've even been able to, in this role, celebrate some of my parents. I had a family that had moved from Louisiana. She said,
yeah,
ma'am, I'm trying to run from what I was raised in. It is not good. My
yeah,
family was toxic. My environment was toxic. She said, I'm here and I'm enrolled. And I said, let me know when you graduate. And so she graduated from cosmetology school. I
yeah,
found out, sent a certificate home through her first grade daughter.
yeah.
The way we met, because her first grade daughter gave me the whole, and I was like, what, girl, I'm your principal. And that first grader gave me a look like, and you are. And so I, was able to bridge that relationship and send a certificate of, I am so proud of you, way to go, to that mom. She called me sobbing, and I said, ma'am, I see you. Keep making those right steps for your family. It's going to pay off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in this seat, I just try to sit in a mentor seat.
Yeah, and that's amazing because at the end of the day, there's so many parenting styles now, and it's so much to do nowadays, and it's got so much going on, and it's just amazing. So I just want to say kudos for you on that because at the end of the day, that's a lot to take on, a lot to do. So I just want to say kudos for just being that person to stand in the gap and be that person and try to help as much as possible and lead and guide and try to direct as much as possible. So one of the things that stood out about you when the board of directors for Clear Path Discovery was trying to figure out like who should we award this honorary recipient was, they noticed it's like, well, if you look at Katrina, all the things she's done, almost every year she gets an award. She got an award for this, she got an award for that, she got an award. What award she hasn't gotten? I'm like, well, she hasn't gotten the award for us. So it's like, well, we just need to add that to it. So my thing is like, and I see the book behind you, and I see, the book that did you just publish it and produce it this year, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, so tell me about the book. What the book, I mean, because I know that's another accolade that's added on to the Katrina world. So tell me about what the book is all about.
For about the last 10 years, I've had people saying, write a book. You have so much to share. And I'm like, no. And you've only heard the surface of the college moment or working through high school.
Yeah.
But different people that I've worked with, it's like 2 or 3 years later when I've been in a storm that they realize I was in the storm. And
Right.
they say, wait, you were at school every day smiling. We never knew it. Like, how did you tuck that? My joy is sincere. I work out every morning. I think endorphins and just pushing through that just clears your head. So people kept asking me to tell like my secret and how do you get so much done in one day? So Hostile to the Wind is just a book that I finally said, it's not a tell-all. If you want to know the dirt of who hurt me and why they hurt me, what happened in the first marriage, you will never get it in that book. Mama didn't raise no fools.
Yeah.
But what that book does, I found 14 principles. Like, what is it about my character? What did my dad notice at 6 months old? What has my mom always noticed about my drive and people around me? So I tried to capture 14 principles that have allowed me to keep smiling. More importantly, keep pushing toward my goals when life hit. My husband asked me initially, are you sure about that title, Hostile to the Wind? And I said, well, all I know, honey, is that when I have needed to push forward, I couldn't walk outside and say, hey, everybody, I'm getting my master's degree. Will everybody please be nice to me? And I need every kid in my class to behave. I was a fourth grade teacher. And I was trying to take a 6-month-old or 3-month-old back to Stephen F. Austin. I couldn't say, professors, lighten the load. So I said, I do think it's hostile to the wind because the wind is going to blow. You can be what my friends have always said, you're a good person. Why does this stuff happen to you? You can be a good person and bad things can happen. And I just feel like if you meet the force with the same force, you're going to stay still. But if the force is coming, you better push harder than that force to push through. So the book is Hostile to the Wind. It's about how to create some systems in your life to reach your goals and how to stay above water because the water's coming and it'll splash. Push forward.
And it's out, and how long, where is the book located? Is it on Amazon? Is it on where? Oh, that's right, I forgot. The book has been out on Spark 22 Ministries, right? Is it on the website?
So the book is available on Amazon.com. And what you have to do is make sure you type in the number, the numeric 2 instead of the word 20. But it's on Amazon. You stay ready, you have to get ready. I always have copies on me if you ever see me for sale. I've been caught before going, my husband say, stay ready, you have to get ready. So I always have copies with me, but it is on Amazon.com. You can always find me on my website, which is sparktomorrow22.com. And how did that happen? I just felt like we were in a space of, even in youth ministry, or you listen, so many people had so much to say about our youth, and they're different, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and woe is our future because the youth are lost, right? So after restoring the Princess kind of fizzled, and I no longer was going into the Henry Wade Juvenile Detention Lockup Center, I finally said, you know what? I get it. Spark, because there's a bright light tomorrow. Someone has to be a bright light for someone's future. 22, I'm born on May 22nd. I'm convinced that God did what he did on May 22nd. So that's where the 22 comes from. So Spark Tomorrow, 22.
Okay. And we definitely gonna publish that. That book is out on our website as well. We're definitely promoting it on our website as well, on the AOT Ambassador Tomorrow website as well. So we definitely want you all to get the book as well. So before we get out of here, anything you want to say to all the people that's watching this video? I mean, is there anything you want to tell the listeners about, you know, the ministry of Katrina? Well, not the hurricane. Because like I always got to tell people, it's like, no, we're not telling. Because if you search that part, it would be a hurricane. Like, no. But is there anything you want to tell people that's watching this video? You know, anything you want to say to them and be able to shine some light on some stuff? I mean, we talked about a lot. We talked about high school and family and making pivots in life. I mean, the stage is yours.
I would say in closing, one, the jokes hit when Katrina hit, and I looked it up. Katrina means to cleanse or to purify in the baby dictionary.
Right.
My middle name is Nicole. You look up Nicole in the baby dictionary, it means victory. Right. And I said, little did my parents know, they named me Clean Winds. Yeah. Do things with integrity, do things with the right intentions, and Katrina will always have clean winds, is where I feel like that happened as my parents arranged those names. I would also say that if you're a leader or a school principal or someone aspiring to be, I would say always put in your thoughts, or if you're a prayer, put in your prayers that you want to be a successful assistant principal. You want to be a successful principal. It took me 5 years, so I didn't just wake up and become an assistant principal. I've been in the classroom for 9 years. I pursued and interviewed and was told close, not close, for 5 years straight before I got my first opportunity to become an assistant principal. And it started hitting me. I was like, wait, I didn't ask to be an assistant principal. I wanted to be a successful one. So it was the right school, the right season for me. Same thing for principalship. I started saying, I want to be a successful principal. There are many campuses out there that I can't lead well. I know that. But where I'm at is where I need to be. So I would say to a leader that's trying to do something great in their career or something in an organization, continue to put in your thoughts, one, be a successful one of those things you're aspiring for. Find a mentor, lay out the steps, know that it does not come to the easy path, but it's the one that endures. And this is what I hang my hat on. And when I want to say, not today, maybe not, I rest my hat on this. If Mary McLeod Bethune Cookman, if she could start a school out of a barn and her parents were slaves, the only thing stopping us is us. But little do most people know is that she also, before she died, she owned a golf course in Florida. And she also was a part owner of an insurance company. Yeah. How could she do that in those times and we not pursue and chase? And I think the barrier is we're afraid to fail. Yeah. And we're afraid to dream big. And what if that big dream doesn't happen? So I just tell everyone, work to be successful, find a mentor, and dream big. And if you fail, guess what? You're not where you started. Yeah. This book writing process and this promoting, there's some days I send something out and go, and the link doesn't work. And I send this and I go, okay, what was I? Yeah. Don't be afraid to fail. There's too many before us that did it well. We've stopped dreaming. As a culture, we've stopped dreaming.
Well, I definitely support the dreaming part, because that's what we're about, helping kids figure out what they really want to do with their lives. So I do want to say thank you just for being able to allow me to interview you today, and also just be a pillar of words and wisdom to not only the community but people all over the country. It's going to, I pray that not only Spark Ministries, what is Spark 22?
Spark Tomorrow 22?
Yes, that it goes all over the world. I mean, I believe it's going to be something that's going to make a difference in all over the country. So it's just a matter of time before I'm looking up there and like, hey, that's the trick. What? Hey, I didn't know that. But I've seen you've been doing it for so long, so it's just a matter of time before you end up on the billboards, before you know it, you're on the news stations and you're all over the place. And so I want to say thank you for all that you've done, all that you continue done. Thank you for allowing me to interview you today. And what's that coffee cup you keep picking up? What is on there? What type of coffee cup is that? I'm like, she keep drinking it. I'm like, what is that? And by the way, what? Black excellence. Oh, okay.
One of my sons, after I was able to do my successful brunch and build, the oldest kid, he showed up with a bouquet of roses at the house and this coffee mug. He said, Mom, I'm proud of you. You dreamed of something, you made it happen, and here you go. So,
well, on behalf of all the people of America, on behalf of the Clear Path Discovery Board of Directors, we are so excited and we are so thankful for you and accepting this award. So I would like to give it up to Ms. Katrina Collins as the 2023 Ambassador Tomorrow honorary recipient. Thank you for this interview, and I wish you well.
Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right.